Good morning. Morning, everyone. Let's see what we got going on. CLRO hive 9 or so. Gosh dang it. I knew I was going to miss something at 7 a.m. one of these days. Not getting ready in time. Morning, Santa. So this went all the way up to 975. And why is my volume bar looking like that? Very weird. Uh, Copy, paste. Oops, no. Yeah, I know I'm missing, sort of, but bothers me that my volume bars are like that. All right, so we're going to be messing around with our charts a little bit as we get used to them and try to figure out what exactly is happening with them. Sometimes, since I'm getting used to the charts watcher charts, there's a huge seller there on the level 2. I suppose I'm not the only one that missed this then for the breakthrough VWAP. I just have this like ungodly need to always sleep until 8:30. Like I have my alarm, or not 8:30, until 6:30. I have my alarm set for 6, and I just always snooze it 3 times in a row. I gotta get discipline on waking up. So I mean, I see this pattern, but it's pulled back really far. And CRLO, I mean, it is our leading gainer, but we'll see if it bounces off of VWAP, I guess. Of 8. Right there, my charts are lagging. Very interesting. My charts froze. Morning, NCDs. Good luck to you too. Uh, Morning, Eli, Fisk, Small Cap, Tex, Lauren, Ellen. Adversary. Corray. Mega. Like my charts are flashing. Why is it doing that? Charts Watcher, I'm trying to give Charts Watcher a shot here, but they're not really doing me any favors. The problem is like see it flashing there on the 10-second? I don't know why it's doing that. The problem is that I don't like to take trades unless everything is working properly. Like, even if it's small like this, I just don't like to take trades. Like, what if my chart suddenly crash or something on me? I guess I could just exit the position by reading level 2, but I'm about to close these out and just go back to trading view because I'm just missing an entire move. Because my volume bars are randomly being weird that I had to delete them. And now my 10-second chart is flashing. Nice job, the Fisk. Integrity bars? The low of this pullback back here was 990. Maybe a low of 10. I can't even read my 10-second chart with it flashing like that. Just gonna close out Charts Watcher, honestly, and go back to Trading View. I don't know what the problem is right now, and I need to worry about that later. Really annoying. I can't trade with it being annoying like that. I'm very particular. I apologize. Well, that didn't even last 10 minutes. So I got to redo all this. Let's see. What? Stock quote. close that out. I'm gonna have to. Why isn't this showing now? Interesting. What's going on with those? Okay. I have to redo this in OBS. No, I'm gonna miss the move, but I mean, it's better than trading while I'm irritated. So I'm just gonna chill out, I think, and get this working again for you guys. Oh, not that one. Um, Nice job for whoever got that move, though. All right. Good enough. I need my desktop. All right. The fiasco has passed. Let me read some comments. we have a high here around 1153. This is a 5-minute breakout above like 1060 here. A little bit too slow on the draw there. Probably should have bought for 1160. If I buy up here, it's going to be a little bit tricky. Especially with that higher volume selling candle on the 10-second. If I was a little bit faster, probably 1060 would have been the buy there. Up here, I'm not sure if we're going to keep going. Seems to be a lot of selling. Above 16 on the daily. Well, we're running right into that daily resistance right there. $12.39. 14 and then 16 and then 20. There's no setup for me here right now because we got higher volume selling than buying. And it's breaking below the previous high. Morning, Rafi. I'm doing all right this morning. I'm going to have to add a bunch of missed opportunities to my tally list today. But part of the reason for that is just because, I mean, I gave Charts Watcher a try. I got to change my stream title now. I gave it a try and that lasted a good 10 minutes. I'm not going to blame Charts Watcher though, but like when I used it yesterday, it had no issues. Like, I don't know why it's doing that specifically today. Morning, Vito. Oh, wow. Nice NCDs. That's impressive. We got WHYG moving as well, but it's really far below the peak here of 13. Got a big gap in between, or not a gap, a window in between 9 and 27. $81. Figure that out. Yeah, I'm gonna change my stream title. Honestly, like no no like I'm not gonna bash on Charts Watcher charts or anything. I think that they are good, but um there's a few like they're very close, Charts Watcher and Trading View for me. They're extremely close. So I was gonna try and give them a shot today because I could save some money if I use the Charts Watcher charts rather than having to rebuy the Trading View sub, which is going to be expensive when my annual sub expires. But there's like some small annoyances with Charts Watcher that just kind of build up for me that aren't going to be a problem for most people. And like there were some ways that I thought of to kind of like do workarounds in the workflow that it would be fine. But I think Trading View has less wasted space as well for stream, and rather than having the 250 millisecond bar on every single one of the charts. It's gonna be a little bit clearer for stream as well. But Charts Watcher is faster. Like it's supposed to be faster, right? With the 250 milliseconds, whereas Trading View is 1 millisecond chart refresh rate, or 1 second, 1 second refresh rate. And the Charts Watcher charts also switch tickers faster. But lots of little annoyances. I just don't like the trading or the trade zero charts. They're very dated and old looking, and they're not very intuitive, and they don't look nice. Oh, the day trade dash charts were having some issues. Maybe it's something with the embedded trading view engine. It's just having a little bit of issues today. When did I start? I started a year ago. Um, I'm not up a whole lot. Like my overall metrics now, I think are just passing break even, but half of that is with the sim and half is with real money. But since we've had was it 4 or 5 green days in a row now? I think it's 4 green days. Um, the metrics that I showed on Saturday being down like $80 overall, I'm now up whatever is the net. But I'm still down on commissions, so I'm still kind of a break-even trader at this point. I'm not going to say I'm profitable. Oh yeah, he probably did. I'll have to tally up how many missed opportunities I was in CLRO. Probably at least, oh man, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. That's 5. That's disgusting, but we're calm. We're not gonna let it affect our judgment. and cause us to FOMO into trades here. We're gonna add it to the tally though. That puts us at at 19 misses since July 27th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 19 misses in 9 days. Gonna keep racking up, and I'm just gonna continue getting better and better because I'm gonna look at it and think about how much my process I'm missing on my process. Morning, Grace. MACD's negative on CLRO. It's a little bit expensive up here as well, above $11. Bit of a pivot at 12. Yeah, Ross is always up. Morning, Troy. Very nice, Jay. Yeah, I hope not. So MACD's still negative here, but we are creeping up. Keep in mind that we have 10-cent spreads on this. I have to trade very small share size. If it fails to hold, MACD almost turned positive there. Whoa. I looked at this and it dumped from 240 down to $2. All right, I'm sorry. I'll look away. Well, looks like this one's going to need to consolidate for a little bit longer. We might have some ascending support here, if I draw this out correctly. Yeah, it is a bit surprising how much this moved, even with the move way back here. It kind of popped up, sold off, and now it's all the way back up at the highs. Yeah, I wish I could turn 2K into 60K in 30 days. Nice job, Drew. Is it the scanner's text or is it the charting software? Yeah, I think it was a cash only, but he used all of his buying power for every trade, like all of his cash funds for every single trade. But that, I mean, that really goes to show the power of these type of strategies of turning a small account into, like, of course I have to always get the disclaimer when I talk about how much money you can make, right? Is that 90% of day traders lose and most people lose money and this and that, and trading small caps is very risky. You can lose your entire investment, yada yada. But I mean, it does have a lot of power as well for um, the 2% that are profitable. that can turn 2K into 60K in that short amount of time. And I mean, I'm looking at the number of misses according to my strategy, and my strategy has pretty strict criteria right now. And most of those moves were like at least 50 cents a share. I'm leaving more than $10 a share on the table because I'm missing stuff in the past just, what was it, 7 days, 7 trading days, or 9 trading days? With my share size, I would be more than out of my drawdown. $10 a share on 50 shares. If I trade 50 shares every time, that's $500. Just 7 days that I missed out on. That's kind of crazy. So this is making a little bit of a move, but it's cheaper. It's in the dollar per share type of range. The 200 moving average is at $2 on this. And we're on the back side of this dump. No, I don't think I'm gonna, I don't think I'm interested in that one. Hey, Daraki. I just discovered your channel. I'm doing your journey through the early stages. Very nice. I was thinking at some point, um, making some videos about like the stages that I've gone through in my journey so far to get to where I am right now. Like, 1 year, basically 1 year of trading experience type of video. And some of the things that I've done to get to the position I'm at now. I'm not sure if that would be helpful to people. It's basically going from blowing up accounts to whatever I'm doing right now. Whatever you guys think about it. I don't think I'm profitable yet, but I think I'm doing pretty well. So it might help some newer folks, maybe. Only been risking 1 to 1.5% of your capital, Corey? Yeah, I mean, whenever someone asks me, or someone in general talks about what they're risking, like what percentage of their account that they're risking, I always say, like, it just depends on what you're comfortable with, really. Ross risks 95% of his account every trade because he's a millionaire trader and he could do that. Someone who doesn't have very much money and is going to feel the pain when they lose even just $10, you're going to want to trade with really, really small size because emotions are going to be high, even if you're trading with 10 shares or 20 shares. So you probably want to start in a simulator first. If you're really new, yeah, starting in a simulator is great. And then eventually when you get some consistency, and you learn how the platforms work and how the brokers work, and you have all the knowledge, and you want to trade with like one share. But for me, who's somewhere in between, trading with 50 shares to 100 shares as I'm starting is perfectly fine. Like I don't, I can afford losing 20 bucks here or there. It's fine by me. I have a 9 to 5 job, doing pretty well for myself. It's a range that I'm not going to feel the loss, and that it allows me to feel some emotions. I can overcome you know, the emotional part of trading. Well, he doesn't actually risk all his account because he has a stop loss, but whenever we take a position, we have to imagine the worst case scenario possible. Right? Like if I take my full position size right here, I have to imagine what would happen, like how my psychology would be if it suddenly tanked down $1 a share and I lost $400, right? $400 would be a quarter of my account. Like that would be very emotionally hard to handle, because that would mean that basically all of the progress that I made in the past whatever 4 months would just be down the drain and be gone. So this is continuing to grind higher. They're fourth leading gainer now, but I think I'm still okay. I don't want to trade that. It's outside of my stock selection. I agree, Slaba. As long as there's improvements, the P&L doesn't matter. Eventually, if you handle everything, that like this is how I feel at least, why I'm not sizing up yet, and maybe I will size up if I continue to have good consistent green days. But right now I'm still focusing on like these 19 missed opportunities. That's the bigger part of the process to me that matters. Eventually when I do size up, then I can if I deal with all of the issues before I start speeding down the racetrack, then I won't end up in a ditch as I turn the corner. The most difficult thing when the stock goes negative on you is to stop hoping and just cut it. Hope is the best friend on your red days. Uh, no. I actually disagree with that, Jay. I think fear is your best friend on red days. When you're red, you should be fearing that the red's going to get worse. Whereas hoping is the problem, right? If you're red and you get in a position and you hope that it goes negative on you and you hope that it's going to go back up, kind of similar to what Tom Homan says. Should be um people fear when they should be hoping, and they should be hoping when they should be, and they start hoping when they should be fearing. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. We agree then. I look quite younger. I'm actually only 30, or I'm 30 years old, so I'm not quite super young, but do I have a daily max loss that I stick to that's a fixed dollar amount? Yeah, usually it's 2.5% of my account. So for a $2,000 account, that would be $50. Like my risk parameters that I would normally adhere to would be two two losses in a row, or just two losses in general, or a $50 max loss, so 2.5% of your account max loss. However, at the moment, no, I think I would still adhere to that. I haven't had a 50 max loss day in a while, but last time I did reach $50, I did stop. Most of the time when I reach $50 or like a high amount, then I just kind of feel like I don't want to continue trading for the day because I feel like I'm not going to be performing very well. But I think the max loss is probably different for everyone. There are some people who do not have a max loss, right? I think it's different for everyone. For some people, max loss is there to protect you from yourself. So you set it as a hard rule so that you don't go haywire and just blow up your account in one day. But some people have enough discipline to um, treat every trade as if they're unique and not carry their losses into their next trade. So they don't have a max loss. They just continue trading as if they were, they're trading for the very first time. And those are the best traders. But I think for most people, probably adhering to a max loss is a good idea. Hey, Fukuro. I look at least 10 years younger. I've always looked younger than I actually am. When I was 20, it looked like I was 16. I always needed the beard. Finally learned to cut my losses quick. Oh yeah, starting with 25K or like some of the bigger accounts, um, it definitely doesn't feel very nice. Luckily, I only started with $2,000, like $1,000 and $2,000 accounts. Actually, the very first account I opened with Questrade was like it was just a $200 account, like it was barely anything, and I blew that one up. And then I went back to learning, and I thought after learning and trading in the simulator for a while that I could go back with a 2K account, and then I blew that up, and then I refunded it, and then I blew it up, and then I refunded it, and then I blew it up. And then I said, enough is enough. And I just went back to the simulator for a while. So, yeah, kind of, it's a shitty feeling, especially for those who fund it with a much larger account before they have that sort of realization. Yeah, for sure, Kingman. Some people do. Some people like they need to phone up their brokers and put a max loss like on their account because they fear that they can't stop themselves, like they don't think rationally when they, at a certain point, and that's valid for sure. You recently started with Charts Watcher. Seems to be cheaper and faster than Day Trade Dash. Yeah, I agree, Fukuro. I think Charts Watcher is better than Day Trade Dash. I think Day Trade Dash has something unique to offer in that it's plug and play for beginners. You get what you get. You don't have, for people who like the out of the box type of feeling where they can just kind of pay for it and then go. That's fantastic. Has everything you need. You don't have to fiddle around with Charts Watcher to get it all set up and everything and worry that it's not working correctly. But I think I think Ross's stuff is super expensive, and then Charts Watcher is just generally very fast. I tried giving Charts Watcher a go today, but it just wasn't working this morning. All right, have a good one, Drews. I've been trading for a year, Red Bull. Well, Sacular 8936 or 8396. I think that a lot of people use the Warrior Trading Sim because most brokers don't really offer a good sim. Like, the Warrior Trading Sim is the best sim that I've come across that is available to me as a Canadian. I'm not sure if there's better sims available in the US, but like the Trade Zero sim is terrible. The Weeble sim is terrible. Quest Trade, from what I remember, wasn't very good. If they had a sim at all, I think they did. I think they did have paper trading, but it wasn't very good. So Warrior Trading Sim, I think, has been the best sim that I've come across. Correct me if I'm wrong. If anyone knows any better simulators than the Warrior Trading Simulator. CPRO is a good sim. I see CLRO curling up here. MACD's about to turn positive on it. Um, I worry that we're pretty far from the highs. 1313. And I don't see like an obvious pivot level here. Like 1157 might be a pivot, but it's really far from the highs. Usually I like the pivot level to be about halfway towards the highs. Trade Zero, when I used the Trade Zero sim, like it didn't show the full order book. It showed just like the top line with a bunch of bids and asks, which wasn't very good for practicing level 2. And it also was a bit finicky on the fills. That's my experience with it, at least. Weeble upgraded their sim. I heard that Weeble used to have like really, really slow execution speed in their sim. Like it was practically unusable. Did they upgrade that so that Weeble sim is actually usable now and it fills right away? Oh, that's good. So we got 8 a.m. in 3 minutes. I'm hoping we get news. If the only move today is CLRO and I missed it, then that would be pretty sad. It's kind of. I think it's medium sized. I think there's bigger sized coffee mugs. But at least you caught the moves, Amira. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't test any of those simulators. Weeble Canada is just cheeks compared to Weeble US. I don't even know if their simulator is going to be the same as Weeble US. And I don't have access to CMEG, unfortunately. I wish I could test them, but so now we have an actual pivot here of 1178 on CLRO. So if it curls back up again and breaks that level, then that might be a buy if MACD is positive. The breakthrough 12 or 1193. Watching the scanners at 8 a.m. Yeah, I don't like Weeble Canada because they don't have advanced hotkeys. So that's why I don't like them. Hey, Wrighton. Wrighton, I don't see you commenting very much, but you're one of my OG subs. I still remember you. Like one of my first 18 subscribers, I think. Channel's been growing pretty quick. Pretty nice. Nice, man. Good luck to you on the real money trading. Yeah, I think 1178 is the pivot on CLRO right here. But whenever MACD curls positive and we have like a previous level that popped up and then kind of rejected, I think 1178 to around $12 is probably going to be the level for that it's going to, if it breaks, it's going to maybe retest the highs. Yeah, you and me both, Fukuro. We both missed the CLRO at 7 a.m. I sat down, my volume bars were barcoding, and I was like, why is this happening? This wasn't like that when I set it up yesterday. And then I tried moving it around, and then it went without me, and then my 10-second chart was flashing at me. And then I felt myself getting annoyed very quickly, and I'm like, I can't take a trade right now. When you feel yourself getting annoyed at external factors, you just gotta step back and not do anything, even if you're missing opportunities. How I feel. It's one of those residual things from when I used to game a lot, whenever something wasn't working in my UI or just in general when I'm playing a game, I would get very annoyed very quickly. One of my few pet peeves. You upload all of your stuff to ChatGPT. One thing I'll say about ChatGPT though, and like some of the other AI stuff, I've dealt with it quite a bit because I used it for a little bit to try and do like writing and trading analysis, but I ended up stopping because first of all, the writing community really hates AI. So I'm like, well, I should probably just write this stuff on my own. Like it was helpful to kind of give me some ideas on how to improve and whatnot. But since then, I just dropped it because I think the creative community right now still prefers people who write books on their own without any help from AI. But AI is still needing a lot of work, I think. And I saw it again when I tried using it for some trade analysis. You kind of got to know how to prompt it because it can be incorrect a lot. It definitely doesn't know everything, and it makes a lot of mistakes. And especially ChatGPT in particular, I think is sometimes it alters its answers to try and farm engagement, which I don't like. So I'm still very careful about AI, but it's just getting better and better every day. Is trading and TradingView a good option if connecting Webull to it? TradingView, I don't like their order entry. Like TradingView doesn't really have hotkeys unless you get them through like some sort of community Pine editor thing. Like you probably could get hotkeys if you go through Pine editor, but their level 2 is like a price ladder, I think. I don't particularly like price ladders. I think TradingView is okay if you're like a swing trader or a large cap trader maybe, but I think it's too slow for small cap trading. I just use it for charting. Thank you, Grace. I appreciate that. I try to be transparent because of all the fake gurus. It creates a lot of skepticism in the community. Now, if you're asking me what data I feed it, I don't have enough of like a experience with it to like talk about how exactly to do it. But I mean, I tried feeding it some like VOD stills, my recordings and stuff, and some of my metrics, um, in Excel format and whatnot when I tried it. And I also tried giving it the videos directly, but ChatGPT, for example, has a upload size limit, so it's kind of difficult. I see ENSC moving, but it's too cheap for me. Not much else moving this morning. Yeah, we're pretty similar in that sense on a Fukuro. A lot of successful traders have come from gaming because they know how to use hotkeys and they can apply some of the reflexes into trading charts. And they're just usually generally very technologically uh, coherent. AI isn't intelligence; it's a predictive engine. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how it works, but I do know that it's not always correct. I get a little bit worried when I see, for example, my family members always asking ChatGPT for stuff, like and they don't check the sources. Like you got to check the sources. It's very good to get a general outline of thinking, but if you're going to be serious about forming opinions with it, then you gotta check where it's drawing its information from. I remember there being some sort of thing about like asking it about a spaghetti monster or something. I don't know if that's true, but someone went around online and posted like spaghetti monster is real or like some imaginary fake made up monster that had never existed before, and then they asked AI, and then it drew from that as a source. Yeah, well, yeah, it's real. Why the hoodie though? It's cold in my basement. Well, you know, one of the things that I've been thinking about with this hat, for example, I got the hat with the Canadian flag on it, right? That's my magnet. This is my golf magnet. It's my divot, or not my divot, my ball marker. This hat um means it's game time. You know how the superheroes don their uniform when they go to battle? This is my trading hat now. It means that when I put it on, it's time to get green. But the hoodie is just because I'm cold. So I do have a fireplace down here, but I don't like turning it on all the time, like during July and August, because it just heats the upstairs even more. They tell you things about anatomy that they got from AI. Yeah, like they come up with something ridiculous. Like I'll give an example, right? Something that happened recently that was really freaking stupid. Um, my dad searched something up that he wanted to wash the side of the house and the deck. So he searched something up, and what he ended up getting from AI was like something similar to chlorine gas. Like he almost poisoned the house. Like seriously? Because he tried mixing Dawn dish soap with bleach. But Dawn luckily doesn't have ammonia in it. So otherwise we might have been on our way to the emergency room. Looks like PAVS might be worth checking out. Oops. Check. It is our third leading gainer. Maybe if it breaks 10. But I don't see any news on it. CLRO looks like it's just selling off now, so maybe this is the one to watch for a break of 10, for a break of the pivot. We expect AI to make no mistakes, but on humans it doesn't matter. Yeah. I've been trading for a year. For a year exactly. I'm a tough guy, Eli. My hat is my my power up. I fish it all. Big pike up your way. I used to fish with my dad. My dad's really into fishing. I don't go fishing very much anymore, but we got up here in northern Ontario, we got a ton of lakes. So very easy to go out and fishing. Well, yeah, I was really mad, Fukuro. I was napping in my room at the time and I woke up to the smell of like I'm like, doesn't this smell like the public pool? Like, why does it smell like chlorine? Because he was spraying the wall of the house right outside of my window. I'm like, you gotta check your sources, man. Like, you can't just trust anything and everything the internet says or everything AI tells you. I had a headache that whole day. When did I start? I started a year ago. I'm afraid that that's going to be a question I might have to put like directly on my screen because I get asked it so often, even though I have it in my description and at the beginning of the video. I also have it in my Discord. Um, how much am I up? Well, I'm losing on commissions. I'll say I'm a break-even trader losing on commissions. I'm using Trade Zero. Here, let me move this here. Like I really don't like crowding my screen for regular viewers. Where do I put this? I don't know where to put this. I'll keep it there. Maybe at the very bottom. Sometimes the level 2 does fill all the way out, but in a comment in the live chat that answers FAQs. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out how to do all that stuff. I'm actually very close to 500 subs now. Like, how many subs are we at? Yeah, we hit 409. At 500, I can activate some features like super chats and stuff. And I'm gonna have to start figuring out how to run my channel properly here. Maybe get some moderators and stuff. And some stuff, some FAQs in the comments, or maybe like use Streamlabs so that people can just ask questions. In the chat, like they do the exclamation point whatever question. I see CLRO curling back up here. Once again, I think the pivot is going to be 1178, like 1175, the breakthrough 12. Trading on Linux with Lightspeed. AI helps a lot in troubleshooting. Yeah, AI is helpful. I'm not going to say AI is not helpful. Like AI is very helpful in a lot of ways. I'm just saying that you kind of need to do your own critical thinking, right? AI is a good start, but you still got to question whether what it says is true or not, which means checking sources and also checking it against your own beliefs and knowledge that you've accumulated instead of blindly following it. But AI is very helpful, like, right? Even if only 75% of the information is correct and 25% maybe is like either gray or not correct, you know, you're still getting 75% of the information in an instant. But you got to be careful that you don't get a disillusion by the 25% of stuff that is incorrect, that it may be pulling from less valid sources. Like, this is why AI isn't used as like a lawyer or anything, right? Like, imagine if you consulted AI is your lawyer, and they told you that it's right 75% of the time. So three out of four of its clients, or maybe 1 out of 4 of his clients, just end up in jail because um, they were incorrect about something. Probably wouldn't use them, right? Probably wouldn't use it, like trust them with your life. But that doesn't mean they're not useful. Certain things. Create a pinned message in the chat to do your Q&A video and just reference the pinned message. Yeah. Seem like a chill guy. Gonna subscribe. Thanks, no FOMO. Appreciate that. How much does chart? I have a video about my trading setup that I posted on Saturday if you're curious, but my entire setup uses TradingView charts, ChartsWatcher scanners, and then the TradeZero broker platform. CWHYG. Popping up. Pivot is 835. This is our second leading gainer. WYG. It's got higher volume selling on the 10-second, so there's no entry for me here yet. I'd like it to break this pivot of 834. But my charts watcher I think is $70 Canadian, which is 50 USD. I pay like $50 USD for my TradingView charts as well. And then I think TradeZero Pro is also $50 USD a month. Up 178 on the week. Nice, Devin. Put PAVS on a side chart in case it randomly pops. This is kind of a what is this? A hanging man candle. So sometimes I forget the names of them, but usually when you have a hammer that's at the top of a candle like this, it's not a very good sign. Higher volume selling on the 10-second. We have to wait to see if it holds up and it curls up. What strategies have I been using so I can break even until now? I'm using Ross Cameron's strategy with just a few adjustments. Pretty much the same thing. I'm not going to say that it's groundbreaking achievements or anything. And I'm choosing specific setups. I'm not trading every single one of the setups that he teaches. Like bull flags, ABCD patterns, cup and handles, flat top breaks. Good old stuff. Yeah, you're right about the float, Eli. But it's not trading like a 25 million share float. Like look at the level 2, how it's trading, right? When it's not trading like the float, then it's probably not a 25 million share float. So the low was 840. We're getting bought up there. I'll take a position. Stop is going to be 850. I think I got in too high there. I meant to get in closer. Yeah, that's going to be a loss. Unfortunate. That's a 50-cent loss. Pretty bad. So I was thinking higher volume buying, lighter volume selling. We were holding that 850 level, whereas the low was 840. So I wanted to get in like at 860 with a stop of just below 850. But I ended up getting filled up at 870 just as I pressed the button. A little bit choppy up here. I was thinking that maybe we could break back through 9. I was thinking maybe this would be an ABCD pattern for the hold of 850, like 840, 850. Let's see what it does. We have a bunch of topping tails, which I don't particularly like. With the way that this is trading, I don't believe that it's a 25 million share float. Like, I don't know why it says it's a 25 million share float, but the spreads are too big and it's got big ranges. Float doesn't matter when we care about like how quickly it's moving. Float is just a measure of generally like how quickly do we think this is going to move. Like it's a measure of supply and demand. But when we see price action like this, um, then we can't take the float at face value. Lots of topping tails on this. Lots of resistance up here at 880. We're in a big window. Very difficult to trade. Lots of selling. All right, so low of 850 on that pullback. Does it hold 850? I was hoping that the ABCD pattern would finish forming there. ends up breaking. This one's really, really choppy. I don't like how choppy it is. I had to buy $10 worth. WHYG. Yeah, I've heard that a lot of people need to get the restriction lifted from Charles Schwab, unfortunately. Morning, Mr. Callie. Yeah, one great mover, and then we end up with a choppy stock. I would certainly be up on the day if I were able to trade CLRO rather than trade this choppiness. But I think I probably should have taken stock that right before I bought, it was a false breakout on that 10-second sort of micro pullback. But it was still like higher volume buying, lighter volume selling. It still could have been a ABCD pattern because it was holding very briefly there, that 840 level. But it's a bit too choppy for me now. Got filled in 20 cents too high and then it dumped down really quickly. Morning, momentum trader. Yeah, today might end up being a red day for me, but that's okay. We have a decent cushion on the week. It does suck that I didn't trade CLRO. Kind of breaking our green streak here if we don't get any more opportunities, but um, that's being profit focused, not process focused. So CLRO curling. So the previous pivot was 1178. This pullback was about 1120. Low of this pullback was 11. That's pretty strong. I'm worried about being extended up here now. Low was 1170. See a 19,000 show seller up at 12. Are they spoofing? Are they going to pull their orders away? I'm not sure. But this is always going to be choppier than the front side of the move, the curl on the back side. Having so many bag holders on the way up, having a bunch of sellers. I mean, back here on this curl, um, I was looking at it, but there was no setup for it. It was just a big red candle on the 1 minute, and there was no pattern here. Like the volume, selling volume on these 10-second candles were pretty equal. There was no setup on this curl for me. It just felt choppy. I think I'm good. Well, we can see what it does here though, because this could be a 5-minute pullback above 12. So this could be a 5-minute micro pullback if it continues and holds up and breaks through 12. Got 1 minute left on its close. Nope, it's just dumping. Careful about trying too hard to make something fit process. Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that today is probably just a dud. I already missed CLRO this morning. Probably just continue trading with Trading View for now. There's nothing wrong with Charts Watcher, but nice job, Alex. 200 on the day. It's awesome. When does the cold weather start in Canada? Mm, usually around October. I remember in the past when I was a kid, there would usually be snow on the ground by October here. But recently, we don't have snow until like late November, sometimes not even December. But it starts getting colder around October, November. But it's been getting a little bit warmer up here. CWH, WYHG. Oh, you get a rewind button, clicks and resets it. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know how to deal with it at the time other than like deleting it and copying and pasting it back in. That's what it feels like, Gus. I feel like if I trade this here, I'm just gonna get chopped out. My edges, if I am trying to think about them objectively, are is the stock breaking out of a range, or is it making new highs, or is it moving quickly? And it's not really doing any of that right now. I feel like it's just kind of bouncing off VWAP. Back on my first trade on this back here, I traded it because it was breaking out of a pivot, but it was choppy even back then. Well, they work. Pivots seem to have been working well recently, as long as it's coupled with a few different things. I mentioned that curling pattern where MACD turns positive. Like we have a stock that's up on the day, and then it kind of consolidates, tries once, fails to break, and then it forms a pivot. And then when MACD crosses over for the first time, that's usually like the best time that I've found, or the easiest time to trade curls on a pivot. Is you have the capitulation from short sellers as MACD is turning positive. You have that obvious level that it needs to break. Stock is obvious for other traders. But we kind of have some dispersed attention today between CLRO, WYHG, and PAVS. WYHG. Yeah, no, I agree, Chimera. That's pretty much what I was saying, is that it's just kind of consolidating sideways. It's not really breaking out anymore. Earlier I would call like breaking through 834 here a breakout of like a significant level, because it touched once, touched twice on the 5 minute, and this was kind of previous support up here as well around this area. Like breakout for a curl, but now it's just going sideways. I mean, I agree with that. CLRO, um, like this pivot of 1178 I was watching, but it pulled back really far. And this is kind of a lopsided curling pattern now. So right here, we're still consolidating. But now we have a new pivot on CLRO if this continues to hold up, which would be this 1239 level. If we can break through 1239, 1240, then it's probably going to squeeze through a high of day, or maybe retest the highs. MACD turns positive. So, I mean, that's the level that I'm looking at now. I'll just keep my limit order up there in case it squeezes randomly. MACD just turned positive on this. Starting to pick up some volume. Good catch on that potential descending resistance. What is this going to do here? Is this going to hold 1150? There's still no pattern on it for me. Have a good one, the Fisk. I'll take a position with a stop of 12. False break. 2 losses. Yeah, the backside is so choppy all the time. Really annoying. I think I'm not going to trade it anymore unless it can break through the highs. How many shares am I using normally? 20, 50, and 100 shares, depending on the range of the stock. I was thinking that we broke that ascending resistance level there, and we were holding it there for a good few seconds. And we broke 12. I was thinking that this had a good chance of squeezing through, but it touched 1239 and rejected off of it. So I was too impatient on the trigger, I suppose. I should have maybe waited for 1250 to break or 1240 to break. But I was trying to anticipate the break there. But sometimes when you try to anticipate the break, you just end up buying rejections. That's kind of the way it is. So 2 losses, unfortunate. Is there anything Charts Watcher can't do that Day Trade Dash can? Hmm. I don't think so. I'm trying to think if there's anything. But if I have to think this long, it's not anything significant. The only thing that I could think of off the bat would be maybe who they get their news from. Sometimes there are going to be some differences in how quickly you get the news. But I haven't had any problem with Charts Watcher's news API. Oh yeah, I guess the warrior trading chats and stream is the difference. Like their community. Yeah, Charts Watcher does have audio alerts. Charts Watcher also has the ability to make text to speech audio alerts if you like that. Alex, your question about micro pullbacks should really be a question about stock selection. I think this is something that a lot of people misunderstand about chart patterns is that chart patterns, they don't work unless you're choosing the right stocks to trade. So like a blanket percentage of the time is not really appropriate. I would say what percentage of the time does it work if you're trading the right stocks? So if you're trading a top 5 leading gainer that has a low float, has things that traders are generally looking for, right? First micro pullback, if it's moving quickly, it has a decent EV, has a decent expected value. It works a pretty good percentage of the time because this is the thing that all traders are looking for, right? So I mean, this is part of my edges is stock selection, and is it breaking out, making new highs, or moving quickly? And micro pullbacks on those stocks tend to work very quickly. So I think the problem for a lot of traders is not like, whether a setup works or not. It's going to be, are people choosing the right stocks to trade? If you're trading like me or Ross, stock selection and the time that you're trading the stock while it's on the front side of the move is going to be more important than like anything else. You see, like I'm buying the backside of these moves, trying to find a good time to get in, but I'm just kind of chopping myself out here. So I should probably just stop until we have something that's on the front side of the move again. Something that traders are going to be looking at, paying attention to. Right now, we have a lot of dispersed attention between CLRO, PAVS, and WYHG. There's not any one stock that people are focusing on right now. So it's just, we're getting chopped out. But I think, yeah, I mean, if we're talking about stock selection, like stock selection is perfect and it's stock that everyone's looking at. Stock first spikes up, first pullback has a very high chance, very high probability of working. One thing to keep in mind though, as well as market sentiment too, like we need to be paying attention to the sentiment of the market at the same time. So I would say as well, just an add-on to that is that it depends on what market we're in as well, right? If there's a lot of stocks popping up and then short sellers are being aggressive shorting them on the initial pop, then we have to wait for them to hold up, right? We've been in that market before, back in December for quite a few months, December probably through January. Right now, the initial spike is working very well because traders are willing to jump in. If market sentiment shifts and that changes, then my answer might be different months from now. Same with bull flag patterns, right? 1 minute patterns. 1 minute patterns before worked very well and we saw them very frequently, but recently we haven't been seeing 1 minute patterns as frequently because most stocks are popping up in the first 3 1 minute candles, and then a lot of them are not holding up after that initial couple of 10-second pullbacks. So got to pay attention to market sentiment as well, on which setups are working and which aren't, which have higher probabilities and which don't, depending on what other traders are looking for. When a stock first pops up from news and has a micro pullback, are you looking for a micro pullback on the 1 minute, 5 minute, or 10-second? Usually the 10-second, because the 1 minute chart isn't very useful if it's popping up fresh, because there hasn't been formed levels of support and resistance yet. Candle closes on the 1 minute, and whether it's green and has big topping tails, like that's about it on the 1 minute chart when it first pops up. So I'm looking usually on the 10-second chart for micro pullbacks, but there are some people who use the 1 minute exclusively, and they do just fine. And I'm usually using the 5 minute chart for when the stock is consolidating for context. What do I feel market sentiment has been this week and today? I think it's been warm. Market sentiment has been pretty warm. We've been seeing a lot of huge movers during regular market hours. Like what? DFNS made a huge move. We had a couple of big movers the other day. YXT moved during regular market hours. It's definitely been warmer. The hottest market that I've ever seen was back after the PDT rule change in June, when Chinese stocks were like literally just popping all over the place. Like that's probably, if I were to rank hot and cold in a spectrum, that period in June with all the Chinese stocks popping everywhere was probably right at the very tippy top of hot on the spectrum. Like that's a 10 hot, right? Right now we're probably like somewhere 6 or 7. And then on the very low end of the coldest I've seen, the scanners are dead. There's nothing moving. When something pops up, it just immediately gets shorted. And you have to wait for something with news to actually hold up. That's probably on the low end of the spectrum, cold. But right now, we've been having a lot of traders willing to jump onto stocks that are moving quickly. But we're not having that crazy sort of momentum that we had in June. And sentiment isn't as simple as like hot or cold either. Like there is, hot or cold as a general sort of thing to help all setups have some sort of additional probability of working. But there's also sentiment by setup as well. That's why the first few candles on the front side of the move, first couple of pullbacks have been working so well recently. That's where the sentiment has been. But sometimes you notice some sentiment in certain setups that work more obviously than others for a couple of weeks or a couple of months. And then eventually they don't work as well anymore. Like, for example, buying the first pop at market open. I've seen that before, where for 2 weeks, every single stock that was gapping up on the day would have a surge of buying right at market open. But then after that, it stopped working so well. There was a period where curling patterns, every time you bought a curling pattern, it would just get shorted very heavily. The most curling patterns weren't working very well. We got 13 minutes, 14 minutes to market open, or 12 minutes, not 14. Mental math. You thought that the first week after the PDT rule got eliminated, the market was red hot? Well, the SpaceX IPO actually gave some additional sympathy stock momentum. One of the things that help the sentiment of the market being hot is usually some sort of theme. Like, for example, back last year, there was the crypto theme that caused the market to be really hot around July, back when I very first found trading. Like, Ross had a great year last year because the crypto headlines were all over the place. Crypto private placements and stuff, like those headlines would send the stock shooting up several 100%. So the hottest markets usually revolve around some sort of theme. And in June, it just happened to be the Chinese stock theme. SpaceX did give a little bit of theme with the space catalysts, but it was a little bit of a niche, more niche type of catalyst that not every company could just do like crypto, where they could throw crypto treasury strategy on their headline and send their stock up 300%. I don't know if I'm going to take any more trades. We're already minus 35. We don't want to make it any worse. We'll see what happens at market open, but I think we just missed CLRO today. And we have to just accept that and move on, come back tomorrow, pretty much. But I'll chill around for market open for a little while here. But I don't think I'm going to take any more trades. I think we're just going to accept the loss today. We didn't have anything else new pop up. Well, it was a little bit colder back then when around the SpaceX IPO. But if you notice the opportunities that the market were presenting to us during that time, most of them were space related catalysts. You know, we still had some of the normal biotech stock. Like biotech stocks are always going to be a theme. We had some of those, but we had a few stocks that made big moves on space catalysts. Otherwise, that period of time was a bit colder, but I don't think it was because of the SpaceX IPO. I think the market was just generally colder back then. I see this curling up again. I don't think I'm going to trade this until it breaks through 10. But even then, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. This is really choppy. Like, what is this doing? Is this gonna break? Was this gonna break 1240? Disperse the tension between WYHG and this. 5 minutes to market open. Like if I were trading like an algo and this actually broke 1240, like broke 1250, then I know I should take the trade regardless of what my emotions are, because I'm pretty objective about 1240 being a pivot level. Like it's an obvious pivot level. But the question is, like, is it just going to reject again? It breaks that level, and we're pretty close to market open as well. WIHG has more attention. Well, CLRO is higher percentage on the day. It's our top gainer. So it's kind of hard to say. You use daily and 5-minute relative volume. Well, the reason why CLRO has less daily and relative volume is because of this move that it made back here on the daily, where it had a 50 or an 88 million share day recently. So you could call this being sort of on the backside of a move, but it had more volume today, right? If you look at its peak volume, it had over 2 million shares of volume, 1.8 million shares of volume on these spikes alone. Whereas WYHG didn't have as much peak volume, and it's our second leading gainer on the day. But yeah, maybe 5-minute relative volume, maybe it does have more attention currently based on its position. But that that could change very quickly. Yeah, 5 minute relative volume. So we got a minute to market open. I mean, this is looking like it's trying to crawl back up to break that level. Some sellers popping up. I can't trade the first 3 minutes of market open because my trade zero lags at market open. But I don't know. If it breaks 12 and then holds it, then maybe if it gives me a setup, I will consider it. Because then it would be on the front side of the move again. But we just have to see what it does. This is going into a halt up. I don't want to trade it while it's halting around. That's a red to green move for the bounce off VWAP on the 10-second there. Yeah, went straight up into a halt up. False halt. Another false halt. What is WYHG resuming at? Zooming flat. Amix? What happened to Amix? Huh. It's probably gonna resume down at 11. So, I don't know. I think I just need to accept the red day rather than trade something that I'm not comfortable trading. Because this is going to resume here at 9:35, and if it resumes above this 886 level, it's probably just going to chop around. It's pretty far below the highs on this. It's a bit of an emotional battle, right? Because I'm aware that none of these are going to give me clean setups by the time I have to leave for work, right? Like this is probably going to resume and it's chopping around, but it's pretty far below the highs. And I'm not trading red to green moves right now as part of my setups because they haven't been working very well for me. So CLRO, like it's kind of doing a bounce off VWAP. It could, if it does come back up and breaks through 1250, then maybe it would give me some sort of setup up here, but it's also more expensive. And we're gonna have pretty significant resistance up here. The fact of the matter is that I just missed CLRO today because of technical issues again. If I look at my missed opportunities tally, right? Like in the past 2 weeks, past 9 trading days, I missed 19 opportunities. After adding all of the opportunities on CLRO today that I missed, there were 5 of them at the minimum that I just quickly looked at and added. Most of them like good 50 cent to $1 per share movers. So I don't need to trade at market open where things are choppy to get opportunities. Like I don't need to do that. It sucks to take a red day and break the green streak, but there's not really any reason for me to trade at market open. So I think I'm going to shut it down. The 2 setups that I did take on WYHG and CLRO, I mean, they did meet my strategy criteria, but they were a bit choppy on the backside of the move, and we just ended up getting chopped out. So it is what it is. We still took the trades. Got to accept the loss as part of our strategy. So thanks, Kingman. Confidence setup will come tomorrow. Yeah, hopefully we get a Friday mover that gives us an easy opportunity. We're still up more than $100 on the week. So even with this $35 loss today, we have a good green week, one of our bigger green weeks. As long as we don't, we continue to trade the process tomorrow, we should be all right. But yeah, have a good one, everyone. You missed 5 opportunities also, Eli. Yeah, you got one. That's good. But that's better than nothing, right? It's a start. And then the more that you take those trades, the more confident you'll get. Same for me. Thanks, Tex. Yeah, I'm pressing the button. I'm starting to press the button. The opportunities that I'm missing are still stacking up on the side, but it's less and less and less. Getting less. And the opportunities I missed the past 2 days were pretty much mostly due to technical issues, so. But I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'm going to shut it down. You continue trading this stuff as it's halting around, manage your risk. But until then, take care, stay green. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.